Now that Mark is completely desensitized to my jibes. Craig Martelle coming to you live on this Thursday from Alex's basement, and today we have Mark Leslie Lefebvre. Where are you coming to us from, Mark?
From the second floor in Waterloo, Ontario.
Waterloo, Ontario, and I am sporting. Even though I had to drive into town for internet, I'm sporting one bar. So if we jump in and out, please bear with us. We'll hang on. We shouldn't get cut off, but the internet might not be great. So today we want to talk about the state of the industry. State of the industry, and Mark has some numbers. I have some ideas. I think my overall impression over the last 6 months is that those who stayed the course, stayed with their plan of producing, of publishing on time, of promoting and advertising, have done just fine. And then there are those folks who are going to write, kids who are at school and now they had to homeschool. So they may have had an impact on their writing processes and publication processes, but the opportunities are still out there. Is that are you seeing anything similar, Mark?
Yeah, and I think people are probably feeling this, and they may be feeling like, oh my God, I didn't get the things done. I wasn't able to write and produce, and that's a common thing I've heard a lot of authors talk about. I was completely blocked at the beginning of the pandemic. I had these plans and goals to get this fiction done, and I thought, oh my God, all of this travel had been canceled, and I thought, oh, this means all that extra commuting time where I'm not as productive, I'll get more stuff done. I got nothing done for months and months and months, and I did other things, right? I was doing parody videos and all kinds of other things, so at least it was feeding my soul, right, by entertaining, by being a storyteller in a different way. I mean, it wasn't money producing stuff, but I finally got myself back into the swing of things. But I in a lot of writers I talk to, I mean, we're going through a remarkable time, that has never happened in our lifetime. Like, when you think about it, our parents and grandparents had to go through things like the Great Depression and wars. We've never had that. We've had our 9/11s and stuff like that, but we've never had to live differently. We've never had to sacrifice. And so it's not easy, and it's okay to cut yourself some slack. So I think I've seen a lot of writers beating themselves up. Now, the cool thing, I think the positive, I don't want to be negative, I want to be positive about it, is it will come back, especially if this if your writing is your calling, it's in your blood. But
I think we're still on track.
Oh, okay.
It just sometimes it does that, and it's really bizarre.
Second countdown.
All right. We're not online. But we are online. Yeah, maybe it was the final countdown.
Oh my God! Da 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 da. Okay, sorry. But people were binging stuff, right? Like, if they were reading stuff they've always wanted to read. They were binging through, science fiction or thriller or fantasy series or mysteries or whatever. And they were watching TV shows, which eventually have to be written by writers, some of which is adapted, some of which, do you know what I mean? So our role as storytellers, it is going to continue to evolve, and people need us, especially in times like this. I think Kevin Anderson, when he was talking about writing, when his dear friend Neil Peart died, you're wearing the Rush shirt. I have to mention Rush, of course, as we're both huge fans. But he talked about getting into writing was critical, though he was dealing with this, because he knew, and he was grieving for Neil because he knew that he had been ill but couldn't say anything. But he said, when we go into our fiction, we're in control of those worlds. We can cause happy endings. People can get together. The relationships, the heroes can win. And if it's dark and scary, we can come back out of those worlds. So the beautiful thing about writing fiction, when you're trying to escape what's going on with the pandemic, etc., is you're in control. And that can be a very empowering thing for writers too. So sometimes just escaping into those worlds is what we need.
Man,
did I lose?
You're breaking up kind of bad, and that's
okay.
I'm really disappointed. Of all the time, the school is 7:30. School is starting, so I think we're getting inundated here on the internet.
Of course,
but the writer's block. I think a lot of people, because of the change in their lives and the sacrifice, as a military, I spent 20 years in the military. That was kind of status quo. Hey, by the way, you're deploying tomorrow for 6 months. I mean,
Mhm.
I did get one very short notice, a 3-day notice for a 3-month deployment and those kinds of things. So here, pack your stuff, whatever you carry on your back, that's what you take, and you go do it. So I think maybe I was more insulated from it than others. And the reduction in my travel schedule, it's like, hey, I can do stuff now, and I hate being bored. I hate being sitting there, and I don't like distractions. So I was able to focus, and I published way more books this year than I had intended. I'm already ahead in the number of books I've written this year. I intended to do 4 to 6, and I've already written 8, almost 9 books. I have 2 in process right now, and just because I had to do something, I wasn't traveling.
But and on top of this, I just want to put this into perspective. I remember you had to be in isolation, right? Early COVID days, you were trapped in a hotel room for a while, couldn't even get home. You're also managing, the biggest conference for independent authors in the world. The one we all look forward to is going to be bigger than ever before, having the whole resort. So not only were you dealing with personal health stuff, on top of the pandemic, on top of the other things, probably worrying about colleagues that you still know, but then the conference, which I can only imagine the stress involved. I can only imagine it, because that's a huge thing, and still going full force, where they pull the rug out from under you after all of this work. And still, I look at it and go, gee, I was Craig produced how many things while he was worrying about all this? Like, how do you do it, man?
What I do, I work all the time, and probably did 50 or 60 videos during that time too, to help people take their minds off what's going on.
Wow.
So it's easier. I think, and this is one of the things in the Marine Corps that I learned, is that it's a lot easier to manage your own problems if you try to help somebody else with their problems. And so with 20 books of 50K, it was, hey, let's focus on, there are people who have it a hell of a lot worse than me. I mean, I was living in a hotel for 2 weeks, and I couldn't do anything. I'm in a hotel with a little kitchenette, and I had what food I brought with me. I ate a can of beans one day because that's all I had left. So it's, you do what you do. And then my wife finished her quarantine, and I was able to go home, and then I'm there. It's like, okay, we got stuff to do. So I wrote a whole book while I was in the hotel, and I still have yet to take that paperback copy there and say, hey, I wrote this in your hotel. I gave you a shout out in the author notes.
Of course you wrote it in the hotel room. It could be like Gideon's Bible. In every room, there's a copy of this book.
Yeah, that's right. They should put it in there. I think that's what they absolutely need to do. Okay. It was called Rise of the AI. So, I mean, it's a gripping tale.
Excellent. But I think that there's value in that. I was a math tutor because I was horrible at math, and it helped me become better at my own math when I was helping junior high school kids do it. And so helping other people helps you keep you focused and on track, because you again, when things are stressful, you're able to make a difference. Even if it's a small difference in someone else's life, you're making a difference, and that's giving you that energy. I think that's valuable.
I think there's a value that for everybody. Look to somebody else to give them a hand and help out when you're at your worst, and that will lift you out of that. And you'll never be bad. You'll never have a bad day if you're able to help somebody else out, no matter what else is going on.
Right. I mean, I think that's one of the things that kept me going, was, doing a music parody video, or doing like whatever the goofy dad joke videos and stuff, knowing that I was making other people laugh fed the storyteller in me. Like, I create stuff to get reaction out of people, right? To emotion.
Yeah.
But it was also good to know, like, well, people need a laugh right now, right? So yeah, I see that.
And we did some whiskey tasting too, and some beer opening, and all kinds of good stuff. I still have my beer that I need to pop.
Yeah. That's right. People drank vicariously through us.
Yeah. So that's enjoyed, and looks of stuff to buy.
I'll have to have you come to Mark's Tavern, because Mark's Tavern only serves Mark's, but every once in a while we'll sneak a Craig in, right? So
there you go. And I told you, I bought my son. Of course, this is all state of the industry. I bought my son a 15-year-old bottle of the best Australian single malt. Scotch.
Mm.
So that and that is out of manufacture. They don't make it anymore. So it's now 20 years old, and I can't wait to get down there and pop it and see it has matured and enjoy the hell out of some of that. But state of the industry, we're talking about.
Yes.
You said you actually have facts and figures to share with us.
I know. I even wrote them down because I wouldn't be able to remember them all. But I think a few things I wanted to share just briefly was many authors I've been talking to have talked about like a decline in sales recently, and I have a couple reasons for that. The first one primarily is I've been in the book industry since the early 90s, and every election year, book sales drop because there is a focus on, not to get into politics, but we know it's very divisive and it's very hostile and it's been elongated and stressed out by other factors. So sales will probably go down election year. Now, after the election happens, here's what's going to happen is people are either going to think the apocalypse has happened and will need to escape into fiction, or they'll be so relieved that they got what they wanted and they'll be able to enjoy. So the sales will go up, and they always do go up after election. The other thing that was significant about this year because of the pandemic was because of isolation and lockdowns and schools. Sales normally go down the last week of August, the first week of September, because people are panicking, getting the kids back to school, and right. So this was a different back to school that we've never encountered, and it was elongated. Some. I mean, in certain states they start early, and then the same here in Canada, it was staggered to. So it was basically like a 4 or 5 week period. So if people are panicking because they think, oh no, my sales have gone down a little bit, you've got these factors to deal with. So those are the things to consider. That don't panic. Stay the course, keep working on your stuff. Because what I've seen, and this is some of the positive stats from Draft to Digital that we've been tracking, is 130% increase in library sales in the last 2 weeks of March for ebooks, right? Which was a huge thing because ironically, the digital books you could open up a Libby app and get it like through Overdrive or whatever from your local library. Ironically, the digital books didn't come with a virus, but the physical books might have come with something, so you couldn't get them. So that's been an increase. And then I even saw the cost per checkout model, which is a different library model for authors. 150 new libraries opened up in the first 4 weeks of the pandemic to that new model because their budgets changed and they were buying a lot more, expanding their offerings, including a lot more indie authors, which I think is good. One of the other things that I saw in the industry that was a positive was bookshop.org, which is independent U.S. bookstores in the States. I saw that their sale, even though major bookstores were closed and publishers delayed print, like they delayed releasing books in the spring and the summer, and they put them all to the fall. I think you probably talked about those stats already, where everything just came out in September as well. So it's saturating the market on top of the digital stuff. But Bookshop sold $50,000 of books in the first month of COVID, which was a big win for them. And this is all print books sold through independent bookstores. But then they moved to $50,000 a day.
Internet's so bad.
Oh, you're still with me? They moved to $50,000 a day. Oh,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. So if your internet is bad, does that mean that the connection through to Facebook is going to be wonky too?
It should be okay, because usually if it's bad here, like I'll get cut off and guests will still be able to talk. So the feed goes to through B Live to Facebook. So I think you're okay, but what I'm seeing on this end is breaking up a little bit.
Okay, so I'll try and keep that in mind to keep going. But then they hit 150,000 in one day. And the reason that's important is to recognize that people are still buying books, right? And so that to me, when people are buying books. And Lawrence just said in the comments they can hear Mark fine, so that's good. Thanks for that confirmation, Lawrence. The other thing I think to recognize that's really, really valuable is when with the ability that people can continue to buy and support books is evident that we're not going anywhere. We may be seeing some temporary dips in some of our sales, but people are still reading. And the other positive news about COVID was, most people still don't read ebooks, and that's how most indie authors make most of their money. The average person who's read a book Still 60% of people had never read an ebook. Now with COVID, that went up, right? Because suddenly it's like, well, I can't get print books anymore. I'm going to go with ebooks. So one of the things that I think is critical, and this goes back to my Kobo days, that Christmas morning and we call it Boxing Week here in Canada, but the week after Christmas, sales for ebooks is dramatically improved, because here's what happens every Christmas. People are going to get Kindles under their Christmas tree. People are going to get Kobos under their Christmas tree. They're going to get Nooks. They're going to get iPads. They're going to get all these devices where you can, get that free app for Kindle or whatever, no matter what device you're on. And sales of ebooks are going to see a huge lift, because people are suddenly discovering more benefits to ebooks than ever before, right? I can't get to the store if there's a second wave and more lockdowns come. Digital books are going to see another increase, which is going to help all indie authors. And then I honestly believe that with Black Friday and Christmas, there's going to be more digital Kindles and ebook readers out there, which means hang in there, stay the course. If your sales are down right now, just keep writing, keep working at it. Don't back out. It will come back, and it'll probably come back in spades. Yes, I'm an optimist, but I truly believe that. And again, we're still not even at 50% of people reading on ebooks, so we still have years of growth. Years of growth.
Yeah. I've got 4 years ago. I had already been in the game for a year, and my sales just absolutely tanked in October and November. And then they came back just fine. December, I made like $1,000 in October and November 4 years ago. Now, I only had like,
oh my God,
10
wait, was that
out.
during an election year where your sales went down?
What's that? That was the election year. Yeah, it was October, November of the 2016 election.
Yeah,
it went. I had a continuous climb. I was up to $3,500 in September, and then tanked down to $1,000 in October and November, and then December I had a $10,000 month, doing nothing different except keep writing books. And this October sales crap, because just like the prime minister debacle in the UK, who's going to be prime minister? We have the new who's going to be the president show going on in the U.S. and my marketing and advertising over the next 5 weeks right now will be all about escape fiction. Are you having enough of everything that's going on? Escape to a Craig Martelle book. So yeah. That's what I'm going to push, and
yeah,
I'm in a better position now. I'm not going to have $1,000 a month, but it's not going to be too great. Not compared. Last month was great. The month before was great, but this month is going to suck, and I'm just going to eat it, and I know that, and I'm fine. It'll be good, but just stay the course. This is you. It's not your books. You don't suck. Don't go through imposter syndrome. Everybody sucks right now because everything sucks. Right. So it's pandemic. It's election. It's the express train to suckhole land. Just power through. It's an outlier, and the books you produce now, the books you publish now, will be available later. They're going to be the same good books, and like I said, $1,000 in November to $10,000 in December in 2016. Yeah. So I think we'll see about the same thing, and it's okay. Build your backlist, keep pumping.
Yeah, exactly. That's and that's the thing to do regardless. Like, we've got some major shifts going on in the industry and stuff like that. The reality is, and you reminded me of this, is a book that you haven't read is a new book. So whereas the traditional publishing industry is all about the first 6 weeks of a book's release, and then they never pay attention to it again, your indie published book is new. In your series or any of the other things that you produce, the minute somebody discovers you and falls in love with you, they can go check out your other stuff. So, if you're not able to write, go and make sure your author central pages, if you only have one in the US, make sure you get one in the UK as well, right? Like, take the time to do that. If you can't be creative, do things to bolster. I just, a really great course I did online with Alessandra Torre on Goodreads and how to use Goodreads for promotion. It was like, oh, here's like 15 things. Like I knew 2 or 3 of them. There's another 15 things I didn't realize you could do. Like going and enhancing some of those other things that help with discoverability. So if you're not able to write, maybe you can still feed your SEO or feed your visibility for when people are back and they get the Kindle under the Christmas tree and they want to be looking for that next great thing to escape into.
I have a huge number of promotions set up for Black Friday through New Year's,
Right.
because of the sales. Hey, buy a book to give to a friend. And then after Christmas, I'm hitting the week after Christmas really hard with a new release, with a sale on the first release. That's my thriller series. That's going to go fine. I got a BookBub featured new release for that book for when it comes out. One day after it publishes, it'll be it'll hit the BookBub featured release deal. And action adventure, I didn't put in for thriller because it was twice as much. And I'm like, let me hedge my bet here. We'll go we'll go with action adventure instead of thriller for the category.
But it may bring a whole new reading audience that wouldn't have discovered you the last time you had a BookBub or whatever, right? So that could be a good strategy to expand that audience.
Yeah. Oh, and the Rush licensing for the lyrics in book 1. 9, they were kind of iffy on 9, but also there's a hard limit on 10,000 copies sold. Now, I have high hopes that I'm going to sell more than 10,000 copies of this book. So what I offered is a counter offer of, here, let's do 4 excerpts. We'll do a limited ebook edition for the first 10,000 copies. We won't include the Rush lyrics in the paperback, hardback, or audio versions. And then when we hit that about 9,000, 9,500, then I'll upload a new copy without the Rush lyrics, and then that will move forward with the sales. So that was my counteroffer. Do 4. Yeah, lawyers dealing with lawyers. I'd rather, I guess I'd rather get a barium enema, but it's still what you got to do,
So now it's kind of an exclusive limited edition ebook that people have to jump on and get now if they want the Rush lyrics and they want that version.
Yeah, officially licensed from Rush.
Wow.
Lyrics to, I think I have Dreamline.
Wow.
Limelight.
Of course.
Wheels. Yeah.
Wow.
And one other.
I need to have you back
I had
on the
9 different ones at the start, and I selected. I'm like, these 4 are the most impactful for this scene, and went with that with the counter offer.
I was going to say I need to have you back on the Stark Reflections on Writing and Publishing podcast to talk about that, because that is normally an issue, right? Like an expense, and I'd love to talk about the ins and outs of that to for authors who are considering that extra layer.
Yeah. What did we have to go through? Actually, I can talk about how that's set up, how I approached them. I mean, Kevin J. Anderson was able to give me an email address. I contacted them, and it was Rush's attorneys, which was cool because I got to talk to them, and they're all big Rush fans.
Yeah.
And they said, but we don't do the licensing of the lyrics. That's actually the Hal Leonard agency, which does licensing for a number of different bands.
Yeah.
And so, go to Hal Leonard, and then they have a submission form, and I use that, but I had all my ducks in a row on the submission form, so I was able to get a response.
Live. This is live. I have to go let the dog out before she craps in the kitchen. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Keep going. I'll be right back.
You bet. I'll keep going. Yeah, no, I'm not going to let Mark kill me in one of his stories. No, I would pay him to kill somebody else. No, their character. That's it. He's not actually killing people, despite the props in his studio. So we're talking about current state of the industry, and if you're looking for, because I know we have I'm a hybrid publisher. I publish with an imprint of Simon & Schuster, and I'm pretty sure no one is acquiring anything right now. Not Tor, not anybody. And they're not paying advances. I'm not seeing anybody saying, hey, I got this great advance from Tor. Look at me. I'm a millionaire. No, no, because they can't push the paperbacks or the hardbacks, and they're really in a dire strait because of the negative cash flow. I love talking cash flow. Negative cash flow over the last 6 months that the advance world, and even picking up series that they already said that they would do, they're not in a position to keep those going. So on the sly, I'm getting a lot of messages from trad authors saying, "Hey, I think I'd like to try the self-publishing thing," because they've got books, they want to keep writing, and they want to make money from their writing. And when they see the light of self-publishing, they're wondering why they didn't do it earlier. Right. I mean, yes, they have a great audience. They have books in stores. It's nice to get that ego stroke, but as you get older, it's nice to have money in the bank too. So that's what indie publishing can provide.
Yeah. There's the phrase that I learned from the Wide for the Win group, which is bank over rank. And it is the case, right? Like, I'd rather make money off my ebook than see my print book on a bookstore shelf where it's just going to wallow away. So you have the prestige of, and it feels amazing, right? Anytime I walk into a bookstore and see one of my books, it feels amazing. When I was at 20 Books last year and I went to support some fellow authors who are doing a book signing at Barnes & Noble, I found one of my books, 2 copies of one of my books there, and which blows my mind. Like, how did you hear about it? Why are you carrying one? But I'm not, at the $25 book, I make $2 and I get it a year later with 30% withholding. A $5 ebook, I get my $3.79 next month or 60 days or whatever, right? I mean,
yep.
One of them pays the bills, one of them pays my ego. So.
And if you've been in the business a long time and you're kind of just scraping along, but you've been in bookstores, now it's the reality of the situation of, hey, I really could use a lot of money. And, it looks like they're going to pay me 70% royalties and I get it in 2 months. That's madness, especially for those who were only getting marginal royalties advances.
Right.
Because you could look at, hey, $100,000 royalty. That sounds cool, but you only get a third of it up front, and that might be for a book that pushes in 2 years. Yeah. So you get a third, and a third. So you might only get $30,000 a year. And if you ask me, $30,000 is that's almost poverty level in a lot of places, because that's before you pay taxes, before you do anything with that money.
And that's twice.
And if you're in Toronto,
yeah,
in Toronto, that's like 1 month's rent.
Barely, but and $30,000 is about twice as much as the average author makes. So,
yeah.
So that's a huge advance.
Yeah. Well, and 100,000 people aren't getting. Very few people are getting that big. I saw N.K. Jemisin was only getting like 25 or 30 grand on her advances.
Yeah,
but she wanted the royalties faster because now she gets paid quicker instead of having to earn out. Yeah. And that was her strategy.
There's many traditionally published authors that I knew that were making a really good full-time living off of it, but the advances have just been coming down and down and down, and many of them have taken the hybrid. Robert J. Sawyer, Canadian science fiction author, his last book, he actually went with 2 different publishers, one in Canada, one in the US for distribution, because they both have good distribution, but he maintained all the ebook rights, which is, I think we're going to see more of that. Mark Dawson did it with Wellback, and we've seen some of those moves. But I think with the early days, like with Bella Andre and Hugh Howey getting 7-figure advances, the publisher never made their money back, even when the books did well, because it's a lot of money. So with these other moves, they're a lot more cautious. They're a lot more conservative, meaning the publisher will make money off of it and the author will make way more money. So I think some of those things are probably going to happen. The other positive thing I forgot to mention is, so Nook, for the first time in years, saw a dramatic increase in sales. Dramatic increase, because Barnes & Noble suddenly had no other business that they could actually rely on, right? When they had to pay these ridiculous rents, but also couldn't sell print books as fast. But the ebook sales just skyrocketed. So some of the authors that I know have seen an increase there. And so obviously with James Daunt, who rescued W.H. Smith in the UK, doing I sat in on the industry panel that he did a couple weeks ago, listening to what his plans were, because I'm very curious, because I think they actually have a pretty decent e-reader, but they haven't put any focus on it in a long time, and they were number 2 in the US for a long time when it came to ebook sales. I mean, it's obvious Amazon's by far number 1, but they weren't in that pole position. So
the opportunities, when it comes to opportunities in this time, it's, you got to stay the course, because do not take any downturns as a condemnation of your approach, of your marketing strategy, of your overall strategy.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just separate tactics to survive the next 6 weeks in the U.S. and then in the next 3 months through the pandemic until there's a vaccine that works, that starts getting distributed. Otherwise, I'm seeing well into next year before any kind of normality returns. And that's, I was thinking about doing an indie capstone in January, and I just don't think that's going to be tenable because I don't think we'll have free movement yet. And it might not be advisable. So I'm going to put those off until we absolutely can be sure that we're still able to move around. It's everything's a challenge because you have to go in. When I come back to Alaska, I'm going to Vegas in 2 weeks to go to Bali's and get all set up for 2021 and 2022. And when I come back to Alaska 5 days later, 6 days later, I have to get a COVID test upon arrival, which is free because I'm Alaskan. And then I have to quarantine, still isolate for 2 weeks, even if I come back with a negative test. If a negative test, then I have to self-isolate. Right. And then to go out, I need a second negative test in between weeks 1 and 2, where I just have to quarantine for that week. Otherwise, I have to pay for that second test. I didn't do this last time. I'm like, I'm not going to hassle with that. Right. I just didn't go anywhere. So all of these restrictions, it's so difficult to move around. Just stay home, but you need to do at home. Keep your mental health sharp, and this is something I can't stress enough. Do not look at this everything that's going on right now as the world ending, because it's not. It's just it's put on pause. It's like the pause, and it's the angry pause button. So angry pause, and it'll come back. We'll angry play after this and say, oh, okay, no, it's cool now.
I like that. I like that angry pause. All right.
Pause that crap. Pause. Why are you not pausing?
There's a story in there somewhere. Angry pause, a horror story. So
you just had a Kickstarter for a book of yours. Let's talk about that, because there's a few people who are looking at Kickstarters and the viability of doing that for either a new release or going into a graphic novel from a successful book. And so what does that process look like, if you can walk us through it?
I want to go back to, I had Russell Nolte on my podcast a couple months ago, who's done some great Kickstarter campaigns with graphic novels and comics and stuff like that. And it's funny, when you look at the reality, the average, not everyone's pulling in, like when Craig had a $1,000 month, some authors are like, God, I'd like to have $1,000 year one day, right? Like that's the reality for a lot of people. And I get that, but it's all moving forward and upward. But on average, it doesn't have to be a big Kickstarter campaign to make more money potentially on the pre-order sales than you might actually ever make on the book in sales. So that's one of the things to consider. And it's like the Kevin Kelly 1,000 True Fans. You maybe only need 30 fans or 50 fans that really want your stuff. So I did this Obsessions Kickstarter, which was an anthology I'd already had ready to go for a publisher. The publisher was unable to, situations changed. They were unable to keep it. So they had to let it go. And I was like, no, I don't want this to go. I want to publish it. But I only had enough money to pay the authors, 2 cents a word. And so I thought, well, Kickstarter, if I get the Kickstarter and it's small enough, I can pay them 3 cents a word. And if I reach the stretch goal, I can pay them the 6 cents a word, which were the pro rates they had been promised when I originally acquired the stories. And then a stretch goal for the audiobook. So now, I actually hit the second stretch goal. And so, which is about $10,000 Canadian, I believe is what it came. Because the problem is I had to put it in Canadian, and then I'm talking mostly to Americans. So I was like, well, I kept getting real money. Yeah, because there is, it's like 1.3% difference. But I had enough money now where I can actually hire a bunch of different narrators to have the audiobook produced. And so I was so impressed and so overwhelmed with the generosity of folks. For example, I get to kill Michael Anderle, right? I get to kill him in a fiction story because one of the things I said, for $666, you will. Of course, he went to $667. It's a luckier number, but $666 Canadian dollars. I will kill you I will write a fictional story in which I kill you in a unique way, probably based on one of your fears. That will get published next year. You'll get 5 copies of it. Now, for the average person, I mean, you guys have books out and thousands of books out and stuff, but for the average person who's not a writer, to be in a book, because I've done this before where I've auctioned off the chance to get killed for charity. People are excited that they're actually in a book, because that usually, seeing your name on a book is a wonderful experience for an author, but a lot of people don't get that. Ironically, it's all 3 really successful writers and publishers that I'm killing, but I think that's going to be fun. So it was just, I'm overwhelmed with when you ask for something, people want to help you get there, and it's just so amazing. I mean, you do that all the time. Michael does that all the time, right? You see someone and you're like, hey, I'm going to help them be successful. Like, you're constantly, giving away books from fellow authors all the time, saying, well, I'm going to buy the first 75 copies or whatever. And I think one of the things I learned about the Kickstarter is I have gratitude for all of the. I think it's 112 people is what I got, right? Which is not a big number, but the average thing. And some people, it was $1. They're like, hey, I'm interested. I want to support this project. My problem now is I've been following Kickstarter for a while. I'm on Kickstarter all the time looking for really cool things that I want to see happen. I'm like, yeah, I'll throw $5 at that. Yeah, okay, that sounds good. I mean, you probably know I used Kickstarter to propose to Liz, right? I actually, I had a custom song written for her from Alicia Witt, who's, and she's you probably know her as an actress, but she's also a musician, independent musician. She needed to raise money to hire a producer for 15,000 Days, her previous album. And I saw that she would write a custom song, and I said, hey, would you write a song that I could use to propose? And so that's been, now, ironically, she's an independent author, independent musician. So not only is she given me permission, she appears as a character in my forthcoming Fear and Longing in Los Angeles, in my Canadian Werewolf series, because she used to live in LA at the time the book was set. She appears as a character. She's also letting me use her lyrics because she owns the rights. I don't have to go through, Leonard or any of these agencies. Right. She owns the right. So it was like, woohoo! That saved me thousands of dollars. So.
Time. Yep. And talking about doing stuff as giveaways. First, I have to mention Brandon Sanderson's Kickstarter.
Oh my God!
That made like $7.3 million. I'm actually not a fan of that series because I don't read epic fantasy, but I watched it carefully and I applaud his success of a book that's 10 years old, making $7 million.
Yeah.
So good him. The packing and shipping crew, good on you. Yeah, you guys go do great things.
But think about this too.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, but here's the learning. Like, yeah, no, you and I aren't Brandon Sanderson. You're way closer to him than I am. But in terms of the fan base and stuff like that. But what he did that was really, really smart was he kept that IP. Right? So when you think about what are you signing away? What are you giving away? If you sign a contract with a publisher, because he's mostly, I know he does indie publish some books, but he's smart enough to know what IP to maintain. He wouldn't have made that $7 million had he not maintained the IP, which I think is a critical lesson. Careful what you're giving away, right?
Yep. It gave him the ability to write his own book and put it into the hardback version that's leather bound, gold embossed, custom art illustrations inside. I mean, it is a beautiful piece of gear, and it looks like it's already done. I think he's going to start shipping in November.
Oh,
but $7 million instant. If he wasn't already an instant millionaire, his cut of that has to be 7+ figures, well into. So what a great run on that Kickstarter. So as a viable option, it's there.
Cory Doctorow, did you see what he's done with the audiobook release from some of his Big Brother series?
I have not.
So Cory, major Canadian science fiction author who's now living in California. But he just did a Kickstarter for the audiobook rights because he's a huge proponent of no DRM. And he wouldn't give the audiobook rights to the publisher because they insisted on putting, so he maintained the rights. So his Kickstarter, now again, I think it's only 300,000 or 400,000, Uh, but come on, like this is amazing. I mean, I jumped on it the minute I saw it. And again, even just watching Cory Doctorow's video, it was just amazing just to see. And again, because he maintained because he held onto those rights, he was able to exploit them in a way that benefited himself and his fans. Because I read the first book in the series. I haven't read the other two, but now I just went and said, well, I want all 3 audiobooks. I'm in.
So we were talking earlier about giving stuff away, especially during the 6 months. I know a lot of authors dove in and said, hey, we know you're locked in here. Here's a book for free. I know I gave away my whole successful indie author series. Say, hey, here's all the books. I'll make them free if I can, and 99 cents then for the duration. But SPF 101, the foundational course for newer authors, to make sure your foundation settled and build on that before you take the ads for authors and really take your business to the next level. We have 3 SPF 101 courses that we are going to give away, and we're going to do it right damn now. Okay, I was going to roll the dice and scroll, but I have one screen. I'm in Alex's basement, so I actually did this earlier this morning. I scrolled through. I opened all the comments, so I had them all. I scrolled, did a blind tap, and the first name I came up with was Matthew Sylvester. So Matthew, congratulations. I'll contact you separately to get your email and get that to James Blatch and get them their money for that course. And good luck. Good luck, SPF 101. Please give us updates. And then the next one, I scroll, tap, and Gemma Galindo. I hope that's pronounced properly. Congratulations. You have won SPF 101, the full course, lifetime access. I'll contact you, and please, I'll need your email and can get it to James Blatch and get you signed up for that course. And then, since I was close to the bottom, I scrolled up, scrolled up, and I tapped. And guess who we got then? Marcus Alexander Hart. Now, if it was Marcus Alexander James, then we would think you're an axe murderer or a serial killer, because all serial killers have 3 first names. So thank you for having Hart as your last name and not being a, like, Mark Leslie. Oh, okay. You're okay.
I'm almost a serial killer.
Almost. You're I'm not sure. That jury is still out as a lawyer. I'll say that honestly and completely. And if it comes down to it, if I need to be a character witness, don't count on me, because you got the names, and I'm it's crazy. It's crazy. And I think also I heard once that you misspelled your own name on your own cover.
I did. On Killing It on Kobo, I actually, on the spine, I missed the V in Lefebvre. Yeah, I know. So those are collector's editions. There was only, I think, 50 of those printed. Yeah.
That's actually kind of funny. I've misspelled my own name on cover art.
It's why I usually write under my
I see that. I'm like, I know why you would do that.
Yeah.
So our winners for SPF 101, Matthew Sylvester, Gemma Galindo, and Marcus Alexander Hart. PM me your email, or I will contact you, and we'll get your email and get you set up for the course. So congratulations. Take the course and do great things with it. So yes, Mark, Leslie Lefebvre, and me, and we're giving away SPF 101 courses here. So no, it works great. Thank you for watching and listening. And if people know these folks, send them a note and let them know they are the big winners.
And I have to apologize, Craig. I was supposed to have set this URL up. I have it on my whiteboard over there, but I wanted to give anyone who wanted to download the ebook version of the 7 Ps of Publishing Success. Very light reading. It's a very thin book. I spelled my name properly, but I've got ebook download. Now, it's not going to be there probably for another 15 minutes, because when we drop off the call, I'll drop the landing page there. But it will be markleslie.ca/20books7p. And I will drop that in the comments of this video afterwards. So if people want to grab it for free for 48 hours, it'll be there. You can download it for free as well. So
nice. Look at that. 7 Ps of publishing for
7 Ps of publishing success.
Publishing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Nice. Well, thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate that.
No,
And
thanks
actually, that reminds me, I should. Well, actually, I had to take become a successful indie author out of Kindle Unlimited because I'm in Kevin J. Anderson's the Nano thing. So
Oh yeah,
it's in
nanobook.
there. So it's not. So I couldn't do the free days because I'd already taken out of Kindle Unlimited. So maybe I'll put release strategies, pricing strategies for free this weekend. I'll set that up after we're
And
done here as well.
that is a phenomenal book. That release strategies book is phenomenal. I still refer back to it, and it's been over a year since I think.
Great.
Yeah, so great. Yeah.
I actually updated.
So,
I actually updated Become a Successful Indie Author to a second edition because I still referenced Create Space and some things like that, and I cleaned it up. It was a pretty good second edition. It didn't take me anywhere near as long as I thought it would take to bring that up to date. And pricing strategy says pricing 2020. That's like everybody's 2020 goals and things. Hey, how'd that work out for you? So with the downturn in the market, hey, it should be right back in there. It'll apply for 2021 too.
Excellent.
So what do you think, Mark? Have we told them everything there is to tell them? At the state of the industry, keep charging. I mean, that's the TLDR version.
Yeah, exactly. The world needs your stories. The world needs those books to get into. You owe it to those readers of yours to get that work out there and to help them, because it will help them when you publish those books.
When you have that, nothing like backlist. Because, like Mark said, that's the big thing that I learned from Joseph Alexander. He said every new reader is a new opportunity to see your books for the first time. And so bringing them on board, I mean, and that's, I say this every show, is my efforts over the last few months have been very focused on bringing new readers on board. I'm bringing in 700 new readers a month to my newsletter. And I'm thinking I keep about 85% once they go through my onboarding sequence.
Sweet.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow. It's I give away.
You must be
I give away a full book I give away a full book just to get them on into my newsletter, and then the 5-part onboarding sequence, five part. It has it's a free short story in each one, and one of them also includes a free audio. You have to join that audio, which is a separate list.
Yeah.
But so an audio book, a full book, and then 5 short stories. And so by the end, I keep 85%. And actually, I don't have a high unsub rate for them after they get to my main list, because in the last 2 or 3 emails on the onboarding sequence, I'm like, hey, I sell my stories. You can have this one for free, but understand here, I sell my books. So I can keep writing books. And almost everybody's cool with that.
Awesome. Wow, that is fantastic.
All righty, man. Well, I really appreciate having you on today, Mark.
Always a pleasure, my friend.
That's great, and we'll have to do some whiskey, and I think the next time I'll see you will probably be Nink, I'm thinking.
Yeah, probably. We'll have to do a live whiskey tasting video like we did last time. That was a lot of fun. I learned a lot from you and from Shiram, the other gentleman.
Shiram, he's a professional taster. And if you didn't know, peat and smoky are different flavors. So I actually thought they were the same. When people said peat and smoky, I taste the same taste.
Yeah. But my friend Smoky Pete, he is the same guy. Yeah.
Okay. So and Deanston, they went from 5-star to 2-star in a damn hurry compared to an 18-year-old Oban. Which when you're comparing whiskeys, well, hey, that 18-year Oban kind of blows Deanston away.
Yeah. Awesome.
You guys have a great day, everybody. And I don't know when we'll be back, but we'll post a notice and make an event. Thank you, Mark, for coming on. And everybody have a great day.